was an actual official Darwin Award winner. This is a guy who went to the park and really wanted to commune with the animals, so he smoked about 2 bags of weed, and he snuck into the park. This is the part where I'm kind of lost. Stripped all his clothes off, and they found him floating dead the next day in the pool. And they blamed the whale. I think it's justifiable. You're Mr. Shamu. You have come home from a hard day of jumping through flaming hoops and entertaining little pissant kids. You slap a TV dinner in the microwave, you turn on Matlock. You turn around, there's a naked guy with a dog just swinging right towards you. What the hell are you going to do? I laid a beat down on that son of a bitch and they've never found the body, and I ain't a whale. Anymore. So as far as that goes, again, we get a little too hyped on the news in this country sometimes. The whale was a tragedy, but it went on for weeks and months and whatever. And then you had everything else, all the shootings and stuff. But you know, there was one really good piece of news that I loved. No matter what happened, no matter how bad it got, within 24 to 48 hours, you could count on one thing. Tiger Woods' penis was going to break loose and cause more havoc. It wouldn't have been so bad, except it always seemed to be all about the money. These women would come out of woodwork. I want $2 million to say I didn't sleep with that guy. Really? Most people pay it for the other way. Admit that you did. And it happened. They didn't all come out at one time. It was like, as often as it came out, it was like a serial crime documentary where they just reenacted it on like America's Most Wanted. Here's Mr. Penis, and it's a penis. He's standing there in the alley, silhouetted with a switchblade, and these women come out and he waddles to him, give me much of your money, because that's all it seems to be about. You know, why didn't you admit that this guy slept with you before? Because nobody would have cared before. Now it's going to break up your marriage, and now it's like a big deal. You know what the sad part is? If he wasn't married, nobody out here would really give a shit one way or another. Because the fact is, the fact that he's getting laid this much, we'd have only been pissed because it ain't us. But the fact, that's the only mistake he made. He got married. Because other than that, people cheat on their wives all the time. You don't hear about it in the news. I'm not saying it's right, but you just don't get it thrown in your face all the time. It's not in the Globe. It's not on, CNN. You don't hear about all the people he slept with. I mean, the amount of people, I was ready to admit I slept with Tiger Woods. And yet the rate he was going for people, it's possible. But you know why we know about all this with this guy? Because again, look at what we're talking about. He's probably a nice guy. He lives in Orlando, but he's a golfer. People are looking at this guy and they're going, he's a role model for children. Really? How many inner city kids are lining up to go to the golf course? Role model my ass, if they've got a golf club, they're not going to beat, Neil Armstrong. Arnold Palmer's record, they're going to beat Arnold Palmer. Nobody's lining up. We just made him that. And then we're running these Nike commercials where it's the voice over his father, and he's seeing these over his sad face. It's like, why did you do it, son? What was going through your mind? I prayed to God for a voiceover. Because I'm Tiger Woods, bitch! But the reason we know about this is because he's a celebrity. And that's the problem with the news in this country. Celebrities, when they get so big, we have to know everything about them. Every little nuance, every little thing they screwed up. And it's been the same through history. The Beatles, Elvis Presley, even Michael Jackson. Would we really have known half the stuff he did if Thriller hadn't sold as much as it did? We wouldn't care. We'd be moving on to the next person. But when you get so big that your every move and bowel movement, people want to record it and put it in a scrapbook, then people get all this information to write it down. And it's the silliest shit in the world. Here's an example. The NFL for the Super Bowl for the past few years, what they've been doing is they've been dragging these bands out of retirement homes that get their hips replaced and having them perform for the halftime show. We had Paul McCartney, we had the Rolling Stones, then we had the Who last year. Yeah, the Who. Not Doctor, the Who. And I got nothing against, yes, I got nothing against the Who themselves. But what happened when they heard they were going to play the Super Bowl is these parent-teachers groups came out. And they had picked up that a few years back, Pete Townsend, and I say claim because you don't know the British, they might do anything. We do weird stuff, we play with pogs, so who knows. He was apparently researching a book about child abuse or something, and he had some websites on his computer that were child pornography, so they labeled him a sex offender. So these parent-teachers groups came out of the woodwork saying, you need to keep your kids away from the Super Bowl because he's a registered sex offender. My problem with this is this guy's what? Pushing 60, late 60, 70, probably doesn't move all that good anymore. If your kid can't outrun Pete Townsend, do me a favor, you're not doing your job as a parent, put that kid in like football camp, let's build him up a little bit, at least get him where he can run and pump his legs a bit more, because this should not be on the news. But, you know, I'm not going to stand up here and bitch all night about the bad things. We've got a lot of good things going right now, too. A little bad mixed in it, too, though, is like, you know, technology. If you look at the stuff we've got these days, like, I see a bunch of people out here with video cameras and, you know, cell phones and stuff. Have you ever stopped to think about how much you take this stuff for granted? Look at this. I have a cell phone. Okay. Now, this thing can take pictures, it can text message, it can play MP3s, it can even, if the moon's alive, right, make phone calls. And compared to the very first iPhone, this thing's a piece of shit. Now, they just released the new iPhone 4.
Man.
And people are pissed because the thing is back-ordered. Everybody's going nuts for this thing. And the only difference is, besides a new design and stuff, is apparently it has an LED flash on the back of it, so you take better pictures with it. And people are up in arms on this, and here's the ironic part. They've got an application where you can order the new iPhone on your old iPhone. This is a piece of shit. They've got something better than I've got, and they're bitching because they can't get it. Of all the ungrateful bullshit, I remember when these things were as big as a box of Pop-Tarts. I remember when you could beat a homeless guy to death with one of these things. The battery in one of these things lasted 10 minutes. And that was good. 10 minutes of airtime, $400 friggin' on this damn thing. And now, you've got these little pocket computers that work better than most people's home computers, and you're bitching because you can't get the new iPhone 4? You people are sad sometimes. I'll give you another one. Your parents and your grandparents laid awake at night just dreaming and praying and crying that one day scientists would invent a pill to give old people 4-hour erections. And we've got it today. And now science is saying that Viagra is being connected with hearing loss. What's the fucking problem? Okay, I get a 4-hour boner, can't hear her bitch. I'll take it home. And we're so good with this, we now are creating female Viagra. Now I gotta stop. I'm a guy. Guys don't read manuals. We certainly haven't looked into how this shit works. I will say this, though. I know what the male version does, so I think of the female Viagra, and the mental image I get is shooting a tampon out of a t-shirt cannon. Well, you put that through the drywall, honey. Where technology has really gotten us, since I'm off to such a fine romantic start right now, the area of romance itself. Now, when I grew up, my parents used to tell me this adage, and it was a nice adage. It was, no matter what you do, Mickey Mouse, well, no, that was another one. No matter what you do, there is somebody out there for everybody. And it's a great concept. But the thing is, throughout the years, this has always been based on two things, proximity and transportation. Back in the old days when you had, you know, your